Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra, and today we are here to craft some moon magic. This Saturday, August 27th, depending on your time zone, it might change a little bit, we have our Virgo new moon. We have started Virgo season by the time you're seeing this. So the moon coming up is in Virgo. And whenever there's a special moon, whether it's new or full or an eclipse, I like to try and pause and reflect and think. So that way, hopefully, I can weave some more magic around it in my life. And if you hear my son whooping in the background, I'm going to leave it and try not to hush him too much because it is Virgo season and he is my little Virgo baby. So please forgive any whooping you hear in the background. In this series, I bring you new and full moon videos with simple tarot spreads that are customizable, that can be used as journal prompts and customized based on your birth chart and your house, which I'll go through, so that way you can have a really more resonant experience working with the moon than you might have otherwise with just some more general open questions. The new moon comes immediately following the dark moon. So the exact moment when the sun and the moon align in the sky is actually a dark moon. That's the moment when you cannot see the moon. And it is a moment to pause and to breathe. And then within moments of that moment, the moon is new. And that's when you can see that tiny little sliver on either side of it. And the new moon is a perfect time in my practice to plant wishes, plant seeds, send ideas into the universe. It is a time of manifestation. We are growing with the moon. We are wanting to grow and to build something. And the way we determine what we might be wanting to grow and build is based on where the moon is, Virgo, and what house it's in our chart. In my practice, all moons can be observed in a 3-day cycle. So don't worry if you're busy on the 27th. I certainly am, with my son's birthday being that day. There's a 3-day window. This 3-day window with the new moon begins on August 26th, and that's the day leading up to the new moon energy. And then on August 27th is the day of the exact new moon, or dark moon conjunction and the new moon beginning. And for those who are very curious, that is at 1:27 a.m. on Saturday the 27th. So very, very, very early in the morning, in the middle of the night, the dark moon aligns. So it's a really good time to be resting, especially if you tend to sleep during that time. This isn't a moon where I'd necessarily personally recommend waking up to do something, since the dark moon happens during hours when some of us may be sleeping. I would recommend sleeping and then in the morning beginning whatever new moon things. But that's just me. You don't have to listen. It's okay. And then the last day of the 3-day window that I observe in practice is August 28th. So I use this 3-day window so that way I can be realistic, because often I don't tend to do something on the exact day of the new moon. Those days I tend to be pretty tired. I tend to do my readings and such the following day, and that might be true for you. Or maybe you're also very busy on Saturday, so you have Friday that you could do something. You could do something Friday evening, and that might be even closer in time than your ability to do something Saturday. This 3-day window is a fabulous way to give ourselves some more space so we can do the things we want to do, and while also being realistic with our lives. Plus, the other reason I observe the 3-day window is because for those 3 days, the moon looks to be in that phase, even if it's not exact. So on the 26th, the moon will look very, very minimal. There'll be barely anything there if you can see it at all. And then on the 27th, there'll be a time where you won't be able to see it. And then on the 28th, you'll be able to see that sliver of the new moon. The really cool thing is you could customize this for the new moon specifically. What I'm thinking of doing for myself is my happy little Virgo baby. What I'm thinking of doing for myself is on the 26th, I'm thinking of sitting down and just looking at what the last bits of things I want to let go of. And then on the 27th, doing the reading. It's a very simple 3-card spread this month, or at least this moon. It's a very simple 3-card spread this moon. Doing the reading on the 27th, so that way on the 28th, I can work some intention, manifestation magic. That's my idea of working with all 3 phases. It's not required. You can just do one or none. It's just my idea that I'm going with this month. I'll let you know how it goes. Because this new moon is in Virgo, we are looking at Virgo energies and themes to start us off. And Virgo is all about analyzing and discernment. Virgo is a earth sign. It is a mutable sign, and it is a supportive sign. And it has this really unique ability, which is a great gift and sometimes a really big burden to hold, where Virgos are often innately able to just look at a situation and see all the holes in it. And not only can they see all the holes, they can often tell you exactly how to fix it. The part where it can become difficult, depending on the situation, is maybe people don't want that solution, but that's okay. That's really not the point of this. And to be very clear, you have to remember that not everyone will resonate with this Virgo energy. Some may have it more strongly, others may not. Even if you are a Sun in Virgo sign, there are lots of mitigating factors that could change how strongly you resonate with the energy of your sign. That's one of the most important things to remember about astrology. Nothing is a blanket statement, nothing is set in stone. There is a lot of nuance. Generally speaking, Virgos have this ability of seeing all the holes in the situation and knowing how to fix things. That said, there are exceptions to every rule. And I don't want you to forget that. So if you are watching this and you're a Virgo and you are like, this doesn't sound like me, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not a Virgo. It just means maybe this trait isn't a thing for you. Or maybe you have other factors in your chart that are coming out more strongly. And by the way, I am a professional astrologer. So if you would like to learn more about your astrology, you can check out my services linked down below in the description box. And I can maybe help you out. Anyways, the point is that discernment, that ability to look at things and see and see things, see problems, see flaws, see ways to improve, because the number one biggest thing of the Virgo energy is that it wants to be of service. Virgo wants to serve. And that is what I want to focus on for our new moon work today. And we're looking at this big question of how can I serve through 3 questions that you can use as a tarot spread, which I'm going to, journaling prompts, which I'm also going to because I journal my readings, however you like. But there's a very simple 3 questions that you can use to tap into this new moon energy. And from there, hopefully, we'll feel inspired to weave some magic and set some intentions and move forward. And move forward with this work. The tarot spread that I've created is very simple, and it goes like this. Number 1, how can I serve? This first card position in question is the question that I recommend you modify with the following information to make it more personal to you and the energy that will be active in your birth chart during this new moon based on your astrology. Number 2, how would this service impact me? And number 3, what is stopping me from serving the way I want to? If you decide to pull these as cards, you can arrange them in any positions you like. I like having number 1, how can I serve, at the top, because it's like we're pointing ourselves in this direction. And then underneath it, on the one hand, we're looking at how it will impact us. And on the other hand, we're looking at a hole in the situation, or a flaw, or a blockage that is preventing us in some way from being of service the way we might be called to be. So those are the 3 questions. It's nice and easy this month, like I said. And now let's personalize it. Let's really make it about you. And the way I want you to do that is very easy. All you need to do is have your whole sign birth chart, which if you don't know how to do that, you can pause the video here. You can click the link up above in the cards where I show you how to generate your birth chart. That's a video I posted a couple weeks ago. You can check that out and come back when you have your whole sign birth chart specifically, because that is what I practice and use. That is what I recommend. Once you have that, you want to find the Virgo area on your chart and look at what house number it is. But just in case you don't want to reference your chart, let me help you out with that. We start with Virgo Risings, and for Virgo Risings, their first house of identity is Virgo. So for them, this new moon is taking place in the home, in the space of your life, of your identity, of really the house of self. So that first question, you might ask yourself, how can I serve my identity? Leo Risings have a Virgo second house, and the second house is the house of your resources, both tangible and intangible. So you can ask yourself, how can I serve my resources? Or how can I serve my time, my energy, my finances? Anything. Any of those 3 can work, or you can make it general just about your resources. It's fine. Whatever, it's just about whatever resonates for you. Our Cancer Risings have a Virgo third house, and the third house is about ideas, communication, also siblings. So you could ask yourself, how can I serve my siblings, if you would like. You could also ask yourself, how could I serve my communication? How could I serve my ideas? I'm going with the communication one because I am a Cancer rising, and that is what feels right to me right now. So asking yourself one of those topics of the third house, ideas, communication, siblings, and asking yourself, how can I serve these areas of my life? Our Gemini Risings have a Virgo fourth house, and the fourth house is all about home, roots, ancestry. It's about where you dig down into safety, so that way you can grow up and sprout out and bloom in the world. So, how can I serve my ancestors? How can I serve my roots? How can I serve my home? Are all possible questions and ways you could modify the first question to be specific to you. Taurus Risings have a Virgo fifth house. And the fifth house is all about joy, pleasure, also children. Mine is making noise. Sex could also be a topic here as well. It's just whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you pleasure, whatever makes you smile. So how can I serve my children? How can I serve my inner child? How can I serve my joy? How can I serve my pleasure? How can I serve my passion? How can I serve my partner if you want to go the more grown-up pleasure activity route? Aries Risings have a Virgo sixth house, and the sixth house is all about day-to-day routines and our physical well-being and just habits. This this is a house that Virgo is really happy to be aligned with, because Virgo likes to serve, and the 6th house has some service themes as well lined up with it. So how can I serve my body? How can I serve my day-to-day life? How can I serve my habits? How can I serve my health, my physical health specifically? Pisces Risings have a Virgo 7th house, and the 7th house is all about one-on-one relationships, romantic, sexual, or otherwise. It does not matter. It's just you and one other person interacting in some sort of a relationship. So you can ask yourself, how can I serve my social interactions? How can I serve my partner? How can I serve communication with my partner? Anything that involves you relating with one other person can apply here for the question, how can I serve? And it doesn't have to be about serving that other person. It's about the relationship between you two. So how can I serve my relationship? Simple as that. Aquarius risings have a Libra 8th house, and the 8th house is all about the other's resources, both tangible and intangible. It's also about grief, death, the occult, debt, taxes. So, how can I serve? This is another good one where you could ask, how can I serve my partner if your partner is like needing support with their resources in some way, for example. You could also go really existential if you want to, and ask yourself how you can serve death, because death is an integral force in our world, whether we like it or not. You could ask, how can I serve myself in my grief? How can I serve my partner in their grief? Or how can I serve my friend in their grief? Because that other aspect, again, just because the 8th house is always a bit of a trickier place, it's those topics of debt, taxes, others' resources, both tangible and intangible, time, money, energy, the occult. Those are the topics, so you can take those and plug them in some way with the first question. Capricorn rising signs have a Virgo 9th house, and the 9th house is all about spirit and study. It is the place where we come up with our personal gnosis, our personal philosophy. It's about post-secondary education, anything outside of the required beginning school structure. So that can be going to college, that can be taking a course and learning tarot. It's something you do after you've done all your expected schooling, kind of a thing. So this one, how can I serve my spirituality? How can I serve my beliefs? How can I serve my morals? How can I serve my study? How can I serve my tarot practice? There's so many different directions you can take this one in. It's also, by the way, the place of long distance travel, and the 3rd house is the short distance travel. I don't know how to plug those into the questions off the top of my head, but those are topics in those houses, in case you're curious. Sagittarius risings have a Virgo 10th house, and the 10th house is all about career, ambition, reputation, work, life's work. How can I serve my life's work? How can I be of service in my life's work? How can I serve better at my job? How can I serve for work? How can I serve my reputation? Anything in these themes would work for you. Scorpio risings have a Virgo 11th house, and the 11th house is all about hopes, dreams, and community groups. So groups of friends, polycule, if you are in one, that the dynamic of the polycule as a whole would be here. Hopes, dreams, and groups of people. If you have a spiritual community, a coven would also be in this house. So how can I serve my coven? How can I serve the health of my polycule? How can I serve my community? How can I serve my hopes and my dreams? Lots of really beautiful things to explore. And then the last one, we have Libra Risings. And our Libra Risings have a Virgo 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of self-undoing. It's the house of mental health, seclusion, isolation, of really those are the topics. So how can I serve my mental health? How can I serve myself while I am feeling isolated? How can I serve myself through seclusion? Because sometimes we need some seclusion. It all depends on how we're feeling. So again, those topics for the 12th house were mental health, seclusion, isolation. It's the house of self-undoing. So I personally would really go with the mental health theme. I think there's a lot of really great things and potential in there to reflect and expand. And that's our run through of the Wheel of Astrology for this month, and how you can plug these into this idea of being of service in some way, of serving. And I want to emphasize here that I highly recommend, both on a personal level and a professional level, I will always recommend that when we get to these topics of serving, that you still center them on yourself. You are not required to serve anyone or anything that doesn't make you feel safe or comfortable or good. I know sometimes we are called to be of service in ways we don't want to be. And sometimes we choose to do so whether we want to or not, because we feel it is the correct choice. And that's okay. I just want to make sure through this topic of service that you remember at the end here that the one person in this world you are obligated and required and that you owe your service to is yourself. Because you are the only one who can live your life. You are the only one who is with you every single day. So please, I encourage you strongly and invite you to make sure you center these questions on yourself as much as you can. Even in the houses like the 8th house or the 11th house or the 7th house where we're talking about other people, it's still through the lens of serving you. So if I ask myself, how can I serve my relationship? I'm still thinking of it through the lens of, but do I want to? How can I serve my relationship so I feel good about how it's going? And so that way I feel like I have brought what I want to bring to the table, kind of a thing. I'm looking at it through that lens of, I want to do this, and I may want to do this for the other person. I'm not doing this because I have to, or because it's required, or because I owe anyone. I'm doing this because in some way it aligns with me. In some way it would benefit me. In some way it would move me forward on my path with this person. If that's what I want. These readings are about you, and they are for you. It's about your perspective, even when we're looking at topics that involve other people. So I ask you to please just keep that in mind, because you're important and you deserve to be centered and spotlighted and prioritized. So that's my little disclaimer spiel here at the end. And that's it. We've done it. So to wrap this up, I want to say a big thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up to let me know you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification on your way out. You can also check out the join button, as I now have channel membership open and available. I have tiers involving more astro stuff and just lots of things. You can check it out. It's lots of fun. And in the comments section, let us know your rising sign if you're interested in sharing and what topics you think you might be exploring. As always, I would love to know if you found this video helpful and enjoyable. And if you have any requests, you can let me know in the description box. I have my website so you can book services with me. I also have my email so you can email me and ask me any questions. If there's any way I might help you, I would be happy to at least try. I make no promises, but I'm always here to try and be helpful and supportive. And I'm going to let you go here. Lots of love. Bye.